So, many years ago, when Lauren and I were younger and first married, people would always ask us the question, when are you planning on starting a family? And we would always say something like, oh, we're just waiting until the time is right. And that would always kind of get us out of that awkward conversation. Until finally, someone asked us that, and we gave our usual answer, well, we're just waiting until the time is right. And they said, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. It's never the right time to have kids. Just go ahead and have them if you want them. Now, of course, my 24-year-old self knew that that was absolutely preposterous because, of course, you can plan out the perfect life, right? Everything can be timed just right, and you can get all the right preparations in place, and it will all be good. So when we did decide to try to start a family, our plans went out the window pretty fast. We planned to have one child. We were blessed with two, for which we are eternally grateful. And if you don't know, when you are having twins, twins are considered to be a high-risk pregnancy. And so because they were a high-risk pregnancy, that meant that there was a good chance that one or both of them would end up in the NICU, the infant ICU, the neonatal ICU. And we didn't have one in the town we lived in Arkadelphia. The nearest one was in Little Rock, about an hour away. And so Lauren's doctor was in Little Rock, and we planned on having the babies in Little Rock. And since it was a high-risk pregnancy, we decided to schedule a time to have those children by C-section, and that was the plan. And as the day approached, we got ready for that day. Lauren packed her hospital bag so she'd be ready to go. I made sure there was plenty of gas in my pickup truck so we could get there without any problems at all. And everything was set and ready to go. And then about a week before things were supposed to go, I woke up in the middle of the night and I could hear Lauren on the phone with her doctor, and they're saying, yes, you need to come to the hospital right now. So, thankfully, we were ready. We grabbed the hospital bag, we grabbed the pillow, we go to get in the truck, and then Lauren rightly points out that there's no way we're fitting 2 car seats in that little pickup truck of yours when we come back from the hospital. Good point. So we get in her car. Right. So I have been doing a good job of keeping the gas in the tank of my truck, but I hadn't been doing a good job of keeping the gas in the tank of Lauren's car. So it's the middle of the night, we're trying to make it the hour to Little Rock, we're trying to make it record time, and about 30 miles down the road, we finally have to pull into a gas station. We see one with lights on, we pull into the gas station, and right as we pull up to the pumps, the car dies. We're right at the pumps. The lights are on. The gas station is closed. So we called 911. And of course, they send emergency personnel right away. The first people there are the firefighters. And when they show up, Lauren grabs her pillow, I get her bag, we're heading towards their vehicle, and they say, whoa, where are you going? And Lauren said, well, we're going with you. And I said, oh, no, we're not here to take you to the hospital, we're here just in case. And she said, in case of what? Well, in case you have the babies. And she said, have you delivered babies before? I am not making this part up, I swear. This is an actual quote. He said to her, I've seen a video. Let me tell you, the ambulance could not get there fast enough. And it did get there, and it got us to the hospital, and still we had a plan. We had planned for a C-section. We hadn't been in those birthing classes, so we knew how this was going to go. Except when you get to the hospital at 5 o'clock in the morning, and they're kind of short-staffed already, there's not enough people there to have a C-section. So we were just going to have these babies. No worries, Lauren loved her doctor, give her a call. She's out of town. Thankfully, there is another doctor on call. He shows up and he's sitting there reading the paper, and we had this wonderful nurse. Her name was Sue. Sue was a retired Navy nurse. She was about 6'2". She had shoulders like this. She was amazing. And she looked at that doctor and she said, you need to put down that paper because these babies are coming. And they did. And we spent about a week at the hospital. One of them was in the NICU for a while. Then they traded places for a little while. And they came and they showed up on Father's Day on a Sunday morning, and they got me out of preaching that day. So we had this great plan. It all went out the window. Sometimes, no matter how hard you try to control things, sometimes, no matter how much planning and preparation you do, things are just out of your hands. It seems like that's what's going on in the gospel story tonight. I seriously doubt the way the birth of Jesus came about had anything to do with the way Mary and Joseph had planned for it to go. I mean, do you really think that she had planned to spend 80 miles on a donkey in her 9th month of pregnancy? Do you really think she had planned to go and get registered for a census for an emperor whom she didn't know, knowing good and well that the only reason the emperor wanted a census was to increase the taxes to take more money away from her newly starting family? And I seriously doubt that she had planned to be going from inn to inn to inn in Bethlehem looking for a place to stay, all while having contractions. And we all know, surely we know, that she did not intend to give birth to her child, her first child, the Son of God, in a stable, right? I guarantee you that was not any part of her birthing plan. To be there in that stable with those animals, with no women or midwives around to help in the birthing process. And I don't know this for a fact, but I can only assume that husbands were just as useful or useless in the delivery room back then as they were today, as they are today. Not to mention being in a delivery stable. And then, finally, it's all done. And despite all of their carefully laid plans, this child came anyway. When this happens, Mary and Joseph, as Craig Kester, a theologian, puts it, Mary and Joseph have been caught up in the actions of God. And just as they have been caught up in the actions of God, and things have started to calm down a bit, suddenly a bunch of strange, smelly shepherds show up out of nowhere. But I guess, when you give birth in a barn, you don't have a lot of control over who gets to come and visit the baby. I guarantee you none of this was part of Mary and Joseph's plan. But Mary kind of seems okay with it all. She kind of seems okay with being caught up in the actions of God. We're told that when the shepherds come, they tell what they have seen and what they have witnessed with the angels and with the heavenly host and who this child will be. And the text says that all were amazed by what they said. All but Mary. Mary treasured these words and pondered these things in her heart. I love that text. She treasured these words and pondered these things in her heart. Nothing had gone according to plan. If you remember, they hadn't even planned on having this baby in the first place. Nothing had gone the way they wanted it to go. And yet, still, in the midst of all of that crazy, in the midst of all of that chaos, still Mary seemed okay with it all. She was okay with being caught up in the actions of God. Maybe Mary understood that regardless of what plans we make, God works on God's own time. You've probably all heard the joke, if you want to make God laugh, make a plan. If that's the case, can you imagine the kick God was having in heaven when all that was going on in the manger? Regardless of their plans, chaos ensued. It all went off the rails, and yet Mary treasured these words and pondered them in her heart. We've all been planning, right? Either for days, or weeks, or months for this holiday season, for the the gathering of family and friends. And chances are, it's all going to go off the rails, whether we like it or not, right? I mean, it happened to the Holy Family. How can we expect anything better? But when it goes off the rails, maybe that is the place where we can really see God. Maybe when it goes off the rails, that is the opportunity to be caught up in the actions of God. Because what Christmas is about this child who is coming. And when this child comes, this child we know has come into the world and will come again. When he comes again, we know things are going topsy-turvy. Things are not going according to plan. Christ will not come when we plan for Christ to come. Christ will come when Christ comes. And when that happens, things will go nuts. Things will definitely go off the rails. Did you hear what the prophet Isaiah said? The wolf will lie with the lamb, the leopard with the goat, the lion with the fatling, the calf. Things will not be as they're supposed to be according to plan. We will be caught up in the actions of God. So when that happens, when this child who comes to lead them, the child who comes to lead us, when this child comes, I pray that we all have the strength of Mary, that we can follow her example, and in the midst of that chaos, find God, and that we too can be caught up in the actions of God. Amen.